Okay, good morning everybody. My name is Phuc. I'm professor of the University of Information Technology, Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City. Today I will present chapter 16 about input design and prototyping. In this chapter, I will show you how to design the appropriate format and media for computer input. How to explain the difference between the data capture, data entry, and data input. Identify and describe several automatic data collection technologies. Apply human factors to the design of computer inputs. Design internal control for computer inputs. Select proper screen-based controls for input attributes that are to appear on the GUI input screen. Design a web-based input interface. Now let me go to the data capture and data entry. Data capture, what does it mean? Capture here is mean collection, how to collect. Data capture means the identification and acquisition of new data. Add is SOC, how to collect the data. SOC documents, I mean forms used to record business transactions in terms of data that describe your transaction. You capture the data. And data entry is the process of translating the SOC data or document above into a computer readable format. You enter the data to the computer. And now I go to data processing. Data processing is on processing that occurs on the data after it is input from a machine readable form. And you see here, there are three kinds of processing. The first one, I go to in-batch processing. Batch it means a group of data. The batch processing means that enter data is collected into files called batching and processed at a complete batch, a group of data. Now I go to in-online processing. The captured data is processed immediately. I mean right one, no delay. And the last one is in remote batch processing. I mean data is entered and edited online, but data is collected into batching for subsequent processing. Now let me go to input implementation methods. How to implement the input? You have many ways. The first one is the keyboard, I mean the popular way for you to enter the data. You can type in your data to the keyboard. The second one is the mouse. You can use mouse to draw a picture. The touch screen. You can use touch screen. That means you use your finger to touch in the screen. In your screen you can type in the data, you can draw the picture and so forth. Now I go to point of sale terminals. Then sound and speak. You can use microphone to capture the sound, to record the sound, or speak, or voice. Or you can have automatic data capture, like optical mark recognition, like barcode reader in the supermarket maybe, optical character recognition, magnetic ink, electromagnetic transmission, smart card, and biometrics. Here you see a table. The column of this table is, I mean, the data capture, the data entry, or the data processing, I mean the process. And the column, I mean the method, implementing. You have the keyboard, you have the mouse, you have a touch screen, and you have the point of sale. And the cell, I mean the intersection between the column and the row is the explaining, or I mean the advantage of using the method, the process for a particular method. For example, you see when you use the keyboard for data capture, it means data is usually captured on the business form that become the short document for input. And the advantage is data can be collected real time. And in data entry, you see here, you use the keyboard because data is entered via keyboard. It is the most common input method. But remember, it is the most prone to error, a lot of error when typing. And for in the mouse, you can use mouse for data capture, or you can use a mouse for data entry, or you can use the mouse for touch screen. Remember now, you have a lot of, like iPad, or maybe you have the desktop with a touch screen, so you can type it. And data is entered on a touch screen, display or handheld devices. On data entry, user either touch command and data choosing or enter data using handwriting recognition. And I go to next slide. The continue. In this one, you see the process, the data capture, the data entry, and data processing. And the method may be sound, speak, or voice, and so forth. Let me go to sound, the first row. Sound, when you have a data capture, data is captured as close to the source as possible, even when the customer is remotely located. Data capture. Data entry is data is entered using touch tone, typical from a telephone. Or maybe data processing, data is always processed immediately as a direction or inquiry. Speed, about data entry, data and commands is spoken. This technology is not as mature and is much less reliable and common than other techniques. And you see here, electromagnetic, smart card, and biometric. I focus on biometric. They use a biometric like unique human characteristic become data. And for data entry, data is read by biometric sensor. For example, fingerprint is a biometric. A primary application are security. You see a lot of security now using biometric. Now I go to automatic identification barcodes. You can see a lot of barcode when you go to a supermarket and you want to buy something from supermarket. In supermarket, an item you have a barcode, and you see here a lot of bar. This is a barcode on the screen, and you can use the barcode reader to read the information of product or item. And in here, from the barcode you can have the information about the company, about the supplier who provide the products. Now I go to input design guidelines. It is the guideline, so please follow this. The first one is capture only variable data. Variable data. Don't capture the data that can calculate it or store it in the computer program, such as static price or figure withholding. You capture only the variable data only. For the fixed price, for the fixed value, no. And you use codes for appropriated attributes. Here you see about the short document form design guidelines. You include instruction for complete the form. You minimize the amount of handwriting. Data to be entered, keeping, should be sequenced top to bottom and left to right. In the next slide, I will explain more detail about this principle. It will help the user to type correctly. And when possible, use design based on known metaphors. This is an example about the good flow in a form. Remember, when I use the tab key, I can move around from left to right. and from top to bottom. It's very easy for you to type it in. I mean, after typing the data to Social Security, you go to salutation and you type the current date. Then you go to the first name and you go to the middle name. Then you go to the last name. I mean, from left to right and from top to bottom. It's a good flow. But now I go to the bad flow in a form. Here you see it's not good because you see the way, maybe not from left to right and from top to bottom. For example, here you see after typing data to Social Security number, you go to salutation, it's okay. You go to current date, it's okay. Then you go to the first name, okay. But instead of moving to last name, the next will be middle name. It's not correct. And after typing the data to middle name, instead of moving to telephone, in this backflow in a form, you go from middle name to last name. So it's not good. And now I go to metaphoric screen design. You see a ticket order form here. And you see here is a metaphor screen design. You see a lot of information in this ticket order form. And this can help you to improve the form for input. Now I go to the internal control for inputs. Remember, you must have a control in order to check the value. The number of inputs should be to minimize risk of loss transaction. For example, in back processing, you use back control slip. You use one for one checks. Again, post-processing detailed report. For online system, you log each transaction as it occurs to a separate audit file. And you must validate out data. Because you see, if you do not validate data, you can tie a wrong data to your system. And you know, a wrong data in the system, the result will be not correct. So some way to validate the data may be existence check. Existence check means you check whether this ID is in the database or not. The second one is data type check. Data type check, remember we have a data type like integer, like string, like logical, like boolean, and like day and time. You must check the data. Domain check, I mean you check your value. For example, you see you have upper, you have a lower bound, and your value must be in this boundary, in this range. A combination check, I mean you shall check digit and format checks. You must check the data in order to validate the correctness of the data before entering to the system. And you see it's a repository-based prototyping and development. And here you see a screen, you can define property and constraint for a reusable field. You put everything here. And similar thing you see a repository-based prototyping and development. And in this one, the same, you define data validation code for a field. Now I go to common GUI controls. I mean Windows and web. GUI stands for graphic user interface. And you see here, when you learn about the Windows or web programming, you study a lot of GUI controls. So that's text boxy, radio buttons, check boxy, list boxy, a drop down list, combination boxy, spin boxy, and buttons. And here is an example, a dialog. I mean a frame with a sample control frame. And you see here, you have a single line text box. You have a multiple line text box allow text to appear across several lines. And you have a radio button. You have a selected checkbox choice. You have a drop-down list, comment box, associated box, and button. And this is popular in the Windows programming. And I want to show you about the common GUI controls using. Remember text boxy, you use when the input data values are unlimited in scope, you can type it in. For example, you see I want to type my name. You can use text box here. About radio button, when data has limited predefined set of mutual exclusive value. Radio button when data has limited predefined set of mutual exclusive value. Checkbox C when value set consists of a simple yes or no. For example, your gender, whether yes or no value. List box when data has a large number of possible values. For example, you see your title, maybe your professor, associate professor, or assistant professor, and so forth. A drop-down list when data has a large number of possible values, and string space is too limited for a list box. So you can drop down and you see many possible values in screen. Combination box C when data has large number of possible values with option of selecting a value from a list of or typing a value that may or may not appear in the list. Spin box C when need to navigate through a small set of choice G or directly typing a data value. So I think you know about how to use the GUI controls when you learn about the Windows programming. And here is an example about advanced control. I mean mostly window interface. Here you see drop down calendar control. You can click on an arrow and you can see many order. Slider edit control, it means you have a slider. You can slide in order to increase or to decrease. Or you have a checklist box. You have many items, and you can select. You can choose. You can check the list. In this case, item 1, item 2, and item 3, item 6 are selected. Or here you have a tree. Check tree list box. You have a tree. It means you can expand the tree into sub-tree, sub-branching. And here you select item 2, item 4. And you can expand in order to have item 5-1 and item 5-1-1. And you also have alternate numeric spinner control and so forth. And here, advanced control mostly window interface. In this interface, you have a drop-down calendar control. In the February year 2000, and you see a calendar of February 2000, and you can check whether you are in what day you are, and today is the 22nd January year 2000. And now I go to automatic tools for input data design and prototyping. And you have an auto like record layout charts and display layout charts. But now we have the new prototyping tool. You can use the Microsoft Access. Microsoft Access a small database management. You can use Case tool. You can use Visual Basic. You can use Excel, or you can use Visio. It's a new prototyping tool. Now I go to input design process. Identify system input and review logical requirement. You should select a project GUI control, and I discussed with you about GUI. There are many GUI control. So you must select the good thing for your interface. You design, validate, and test input using some combination of layout tools. Hand sketchy, spacing chart, or Case tool for designing the input. Or you can use the prototyping tool like, for example, spreadsheet, PCDBMS, for GL. As necessary, design short documents. Now I go to a logical data structure for input requirement. You have the order, you have the address. In the order, you have order number, order date, customer number, customer name, and so forth. And in the address, you have a post office box number, You have street address, city, state, postal code. And this is the input prototype for video title maintenance. You see the input interface is very nice. You can use the button, the radio, the text box, the drop down, and here and the text box. And so very interesting, the picture and maybe. So it's very, very interesting. So you can use the good GUI for designing a good one like this. And now I go to input prototype for member order to see about the database. You see the text box, you see the drop down, and you see many things. So when you design a database, you can use this database schema control and so forth. And now here is the input prototype for member shopping. You also have the radio button, about the text box, about the button, and so forth. So it is an example of prototype for member shopping. And now this is the input prototype for web shopping cart. The e-commerce. You can shopping like Amazon.com, like eBay, and you have here a South Stay for Air South Stay. Entertainment club, and you can enjoy the product before you want to buy. To input the data into this. And here is the input prototype for web interface. You can type it in, and here's. And so anyway, I will give you some prototype for your input design, and I hope with this principle or with this knowledge, you can design good input for your information system. Okay, thank you for your learning.